So just as expected and right on time, the Doomers have started to make their way out of the shadows to continue to spread the rumor or the news that New World is dying once again. And we're going to show off the numbers. We're going to talk about what it means for the future of the game now that the hype has subsided. But for me personally, this is my favorite time as a New World player. When hype is there for games, it can be a lot of fun, but it can also be very draining and taxing. We all have been in hype cycles before with games that you can't stop putting down, but eventually, that hype kind of wears off and you're asking yourself, what is there? And that's for me where New World really shines. This game offers a lot for me as a player, as a dad of 5 kids and one on the way. That's some news to share with you guys. As somebody who really likes to kick back, play, get really into the content, or sometimes just casually play, help new players out, fish, it doesn't matter. I think New World has a lot to offer, and it's thus that I like to kind of break down the numbers, what they really mean, because when it comes to MMORPGs, I see a lot of bad actors, a lot of people who don't understand the genre itself, don't even understand the numbers, but they like to pretend they do. And I like to kind of bring everybody back down to reality and explain exactly what's going on. So hello, everyone. If you're new around here, my name is Brian, by the way. If you're a returning subscriber, you're a freaking legend and you know it. And thank you so much for coming back and checking out today's video. This is the player population report. I like to put these out once a month to kind of dive into the numbers, also talk about the streaming side of things. There's a bunch of streamers who've been playing this game, and I like to highlight who is actively playing, maybe some content creators you want to take a look at. Really, it's up to you, but I like to look at all the numbers because I think one of the things about modern MMOs that didn't exist back in the quote-unquote golden age of the genre is that you have streaming, and whether you like it or you don't, there's no wrong answers either way, but whether you like it or you don't, it's here. It's like a pillar in content. It's a pillar in gaming, and it's something that I like to discuss with you guys because I like making content about it, but I also like to kind of try to demystify some of the things and some of the assumptions that I see people making on the internet. But let's go ahead and start diving in. This starts off with a kind of a comment that I saw here on the video, but there's also stuff going on Reddit. This is to be expected, and I want to kind of highlight it because really at the end of the day, like I've seen Talkstar here, and I'm not shaming them, but I've seen them say that this game was going to be dead already. The servers would be offline. Now the game will be down to 30K players in January, which honestly is a great number. I think a lot of people don't really understand numbers, and maybe in their mind they're like, oh, it should be, a game isn't a good game unless it has 1 million players. I've seen people say that about YouTubers, like, oh, if they don't have 1 million subscribers, they're not a good YouTuber. Or and the opposite is also true. Oh, they're a sellout because they have 1 million subscribers. Like at the end of the day, people like to use numbers wrong. And that's why I guess I'm here in this series in and of itself. So I'm stating that, like, if we get to a point where the game is at 30K concurrent players, that's actually really great, because if you guys have seen any of my previous coverage, you'll know that I've said this before. What I look at is floors and ceilings, and the floor of the game is what I would say is that if the game drops below the floor from July, which was like 13,000, we'll actually see the number here in a second. That's actually something where I'd be like, well, maybe there's a problem here. But as it goes, I think what New World has done is it's proven that it can invite players back in, that hype cycles absolutely are a part of the genre. Whether you like that or not, we can discuss that in a future video, but they are part of the genre. So let's go ahead and dive into some of the Reddit discussion that's happening, and then we'll go through the numbers and hopefully give you guys all the information you need to combat these kind of doomers when you see them on the internet, or to hopefully educate yourself so you can maybe make a better argument, because it's not that New World is perfect. It's New World is moving its way as typical MMOs go, and everybody who plays MMOs has experienced this. If they've ever experienced more than one MMO, is that there's a cycle of growth. Growing pains are real, and it usually takes around 2 to 3 years for an MMO to really flesh itself out and to really mature. And that's why these kind of posts personally frustrate me a little bit, because they don't really offer a lot of value. You can see here, they're analyzing the peak concurrence from Brimstone, from Fresh Start, and then how it's dipped down each and every week. But you take any other game and you will see something similar. Games have these hype cycles. We call these the 3 seasons of MMOs. You have hype, you have grind, and then you have bitch. The 3rd season is almost kind of the most fun. It's the most annoying thing as somebody who consumes gaming content, but at the end of the day, that's usually what generates the views. And we can talk about that because you'll see gamers vent that frustration. Oh, they're just doing it for the views. That ends up being kind of the third season of content creation, where a content creator has consumed every possible aspect of the game itself. And now there's just nothing to do but really complain about it until we get new news and new information and new content. Content is king, and it will always be king. But you're seeing here, this is going to be some of the narrative. Oh, New World's lost players. That's the narrative that people continue to facilitate because it's the narrative that gets people like me talking. It's the narrative that gets people to click. Social media, if you guys don't know, it's a currency of attention. That's not necessarily a good thing, and that's something that I'm always trying to explore in my own dealings with how to kind of manage my content, but also how to train my kids to make sure that they understand it. The game of attention is afoot, and so you're going to see doomers come out of the woodwork. What's really happening? Well, people play the game, they're taking a break, or they're going to play other games. All healthy choices. You'll have people like me who really just continue to play the game and will be excited for the next round of news and hype and more. And then I'll be able to share with you guys all the things that have changed within that. These are the natural cycles. And so when we get into the pure numbers, we can start to see how this is reflected. New World is a really great case study for MMORPGs. A lot of people like to use this number as the real number. That's a massive marketing and hype, as well as a brand new MMORPG on the market after years. We're going to continue to see new MMOs, big MMOs, actively talk about this, actively hit some wild numbers, but then kind of be victimized in a way, kind of be punished in a way for having such a successful interest at the start of things. And so you end up going to what's called the death spiral. You can see that listed here. Here in April is when we saw kind of the first real big update in the spring with new weapons, new content. So people did come back. They came back to check out the core game. But then as you get into the summer, things happen and people continue to lose. Now, this is where summer and hype kick in. This is not just the content. Here you can see in August, you have the Summer Medley Fair kicking off, and then this is coupled with the Brimstone Sands announcement and so much more. People labeling it as an expansion. At the reality of it, they're doing a lot of work, a lot of hype. People are excited to come check out the 1 year. And then you have the anniversary. Now you can see here a massive jump in concurrency players. And at the time of this recording, early in the morning, still a peak of 86K. Right now at 48,000. Truly, really good numbers. And when you start to break this down, you actually look at what you would say is concurrent times 7 to 11. That's going to give you the range of players. And bringing out our amazing calculator app, this is giving us a range for monthly active players around 462,000 to 727,000 monthly active players. A very healthy MMORPG population. And one that I think is the biggest thing you'll see is that players are willing to return, players are willing to start. I've stated this, I'm going to keep stating this, I'm going to beat this into hopefully people's heads, is that New World and MMORPGs aren't just about keeping players. It's how do you invite players back in? How do you invite players to start? And that's going to be a pattern of marketing. That's going to be a pattern of content, and content is king is absolutely true. And New World has a very unique hook. And it's going to be one thing that as the game continues to evolve, no matter when people say like, hey, I'm never going to touch this game again, there's going to be a handful of people that is true for. But the reality is that give it enough time. They already own the game. It costs them nothing to try it out again. You'll see hype cycles build back up. And when other games really aren't doing it for them, you'll see people come and check out all the content, all the updates, and more. And the fact is that I think Amazon has proven that they're willing to continue to invest in these games and that they're very excited about the future of New World. And I'm very excited about it as well because we've already been given a lot of information about what's to come. But I think what we need at this point is a roadmap to kind of really drill it into kind of more solid foundation. Whenever I sit down to talk about this game with you guys, it would help to be able to tell you when something is coming, at least in terms of like a quarter. Hey, check out the game in spring 2023 or summer 2023 or fall 2023. And that's when we're going to see this system or that feature, etc. But the other side of the data is also how New World ranks. I've seen New World in the top 10. Right now it is ranked at the time of this recording at the 21st most played game on Steam. gamers are going to ebb in and flow in and out. And obviously with the Return to Eternum hype event, you're going to see numbers return to a more natural state. In fact, next month's report should be the most interesting because it should give us a brand new floor and a brand new ceiling going into 2023. Because at the end of the day, we saw New World hit its lowest point in July. And like I've said before, if we see the game dip behind that, if we ever see it drop below 13K, that's going to be something where it's going to be a different kind of conversation. What's going on? Why has it dipped down so low? Especially after all the new content, features, and more. New World has to establish trust. It does. And that's going to be something that's going to be kind of almost individual, person to person, gamer to gamer, how that trust gets established. But the only way you can do that is with actions. It does not matter what a game dev or publisher really say, because actions are going to speak louder than words, and people will put faith in the words, and either it will pay off or it won't. We'll take a look at future MMORPGs that have a lot of promises that are out there, and these promises are great. I've seen people use these promises as counterpoints to my points that I make in my videos. But the reality is that they can say whatever they want. There's no game that's out yet for those promises to kind of meet the foundation, the road, so to speak. So now let's talk about our streamers and the marketing campaign of Return to Eternum and see exactly what we're looking at, because I think this, again, is a massive pillar that should not be ignored. So just looking over here in streams charts, we can see streamers and hours watched peaking at almost a 300% increase in the last 30 days in hours watched. Peak viewers, a 215% increase. Average viewers, 293% increase. Peak channels, 105% increase. And the average channels, 120% increase overall. Meaning the average views per channel, what you're looking at is around 95 people watching at least the channel. Obviously, this is going to be skewed more to the bigger guys, and we're going to look at those here right now. Now, to start off, I will go into the next section, the English streamers, but you guys, I'll try to include a link in the description if you guys want to go look at this data yourself. But note that you can see kind of Zach Rahr, Baggins TV, Towley. Like, these are names that you should recognize. In fact, I've had Baggins on the podcast. You guys go check out my podcast, Epic Loot Radio, live stream over on Ginger Prime. You can also download the MP3. Links are all in the description, yada, yada, yada. Also, as a plug, if you're already here this long into the video, if you're in Fort Worth, I'm going to be coming to the Fort Worth Hyenas Comedy Club on January 21st. I am a stand-up comedian, and I'm very excited to be doing a show out in Fort Worth. So if you guys are interested, check the flyer. It should hopefully be here on the video right now, but also pay attention to all the socials and more for more information about when I'm doing stand-up comedy. And hopefully you guys come enjoy the show. It's an adult-driven show. It's different from my gaming content. I don't make gaming jokes. In it, I talk about other things that are, like, I guess, relevant to my life. But if you guys are interested, there you go. Anyway, that plug aside, let's get back into it. You can see here, New World is doing really well in terms of its numbers. Lots of growth in terms of content creation. This is also driven off of their drops system. The fact that they use drops is actually very important. And you can see here, October, they were the 54th most streamed or watched game in the global ranking on Twitch. This is really great. It was up from 69th in September. November, I think we're going to see some interesting numbers as those get finalized here in the next couple days. So it's really kind of cool to see that how that plays out. And then finally, as I wrap up this video, you can start to see the top streamers here. Now, I've actually got some exciting news. I am now ranked. I stream over at Work to Game at 38th. So thank you guys so much who followed. Again, the links in the description. I stream over on Work to Game with my friend Chris. He normally does the Monday through Friday during the day if you ever want to go hang out with him, talk MMOs. But for me, I usually stream Friday nights, and that's going to get kicked back up now that we get back into the new year after the Thanksgiving holidays and more. So guys, that's it. That's just what I wanted to share with you guys. I think it's a lot of interesting numbers. Thank you so much for your time and your support today. I hope you would enjoy the video. Hopefully I'll see you next time. But until then, take care.